What's up, yo? My name is Millennial Smark, and I'm bringing you the slop, the whole slop, and nothing but the slop. So apparently Paul Heyman's in some controversy once again. I only say once again because a week or two ago, someone literally made up a story out of whole cloth, and he was involved in controversy that I'm pretty sure he didn't even respond to, because why should he? And this one right here is a little bit more controversial because you have eyes and you've seen the video for yourself. Now, I'll give my take. It's going to be pretty nuanced. Going to be pretty milquetoast down the middle because I can see both perspectives and I can see both points while leaning towards one perspective a little bit more than leaning towards more than one point. So, Paul Heyman shoved the kid. And everybody's losing their fucking mind. Oh my god, how dare he put his hands on a little kid. That kid wanted to meet his hero, Paul Heyman, because of course little kids' heroes happen to be Paul fucking Heyman. Yeah, sure, totally. Whatever you like to say, whatever you like to do, however you like to cope. But I have eyes, and I have more than 5 senses. Actually 7 senses, because I have more sense than you. And I watched the same video you watch. Now, I'm not an astute observer, but I did notice that Paul Heyman was walking, and maybe he was looking at his peripheral vision. I'm not sure, but like just from, first glance, it looks like he's not even looking down. It looks like he's not even paying attention to the kid. I think he just kept walking. Someone came up to him, and he just shoved the kid. There's security guards around that area as well, right? So I can only presume that he's frustrated because maybe a fan broke through and the security guards aren't doing their jobs appropriately. I feel like that has more to do with the fact that Paul Heyman is frustrated and reacted in that manner versus, oh look, a little kid. Me, son of a lawyer. I want to get a lawsuit. Shoves kid. I'm pretty sure that was the case. Now, when I say nuance and I say I'm going to look at this from a both sides issue, make no mistake about it. I lean heavy towards the Paul Heyman camp as far as being okay. Fuck them kids, right? That's what they like to say. Fuck them kids. Unfortunately, they typically say that, but then they'll say things like, I love dogs and I love cats and my animals are the best things in my life. But fuck them kids. Because these people live on the internet and they're psychopaths. But nevertheless, though, I lean more towards the Paul Heyman camp in the sense of like, yeah, dude probably wasn't really paying that much attention and was frustrated by that whole circumstance. And 9 times out of 10 also, I feel like this is more in the lower end of the priority listing, but I kind of feel like Paul Heyman probably is trying to stay in character. That's probably to a lesser degree. And what are you going to do? The kid runs up to you. Let me hug this kid. Come here. Let me press you against my Paul Heyman bosom. Like, the fuck are you really expecting, right? Now, I will say, be a little bit more diligent. I will say for Paul Heyman, you are still an adult. And no matter what you will say, I can understand what you're saying, but you still put WWE in a predicament, or you put them in a bind, where if this would have been a little bit more worse, there could be lawsuits happening. I wouldn't even be surprised if there aren't a lawsuits happening right about now, given the situation and given the fact that it's on camera. Which brings me, gonna lick my finger, put it up in the air. Oh, it's the wind is blowing towards that way, and who's there on the horizon? Looks, Pierce has my hand over my eyes to get a better view. The parents. Where were you guys? Over here. Where were you guys? Where were the parents? I feel like that's like the number one thing that we should automatically ask questions for. We can go back and forth and speculate one issue versus the other, but I think the number one thing should probably be asked when watching that video. Where are the parents? Did the parents send little Jimmy over there to go ambush Paul Heyman? Did they do that? Huh? Did they look to the left, look to the right, and then, I don't know, get fucking distracted by air particles and, I don't know, like the little Jimmy ran over there when his parents weren't fucking looking at him or something? Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Where the fuck are the parents? How did the kid get that close through security to even touch Paul Heyman? Because I think in the end of the day, if anybody's going to get blamed for anything, it should be them. It should be the numero uno. Security guards should probably be blamed second because, well, you're security guards. Do your fucking job. And then Paul Heyman should be blamed third because, hey, we already been through this. Looking up, not looking down, not really paying attention to my surroundings. You can blame him for not doing his due diligence and paying attention to his surroundings. But in the end of the day, if everything is going right, everything is going according to plan, security guards are doing their jobs, parents are being parents, one would actually assume that, yeah, I could probably just like be a cat and lay on my back for a little bit, right? Like the fuck. And the crazy part about this, I don't really see that many people on Twitter or X because, of course, that's where, things typically go to die, especially common sense. I don't see a lot of people in the comment section or whatever they'll fucking call it on Twitter or X or whatever, Elon Musk's hellhole or whatever. Like, I don't see a lot of people immediately pointing the finger in that direction. And that shit kind of kills me a little tiny bit. Because as a parent myself, I'm gonna have my kids close by me, tightly squeezing them, fucking holding them tight. Like, I'm gonna squeeze them so tight, if I squeeze any harder, the intensity is gonna create a barrier that might even influence a black hole. That's how closely I'm gonna keep my kids right here to my hip. And if not me, my girl's gonna take care of that as well. I know it sucks to hear in most places, the hood, 2-parent households, right? But what I am saying more so over is, why do you automatically let your kids run around and act like this or do things like this? And then I'm not saying anything, inherently bad about what the kid is doing necessarily. He probably just got overzealous, right? But just overall, and no one even takes the time to take, unless something like really, really horrible happens, right? Like a school shooting or like murder in general, I would think, or like, something extreme like sexual assault or something along the lines of that. Especially if it happens to a woman, probably only if it happens to a woman. Let's just be honest. You never take that same repercussions or that same action or that same logic or that same common sense in everyday life when a kid gets in trouble, right? And look at the parents. I feel like that's the last thing we do, right? We blame all the environmental circumstances, then eventually we get to the parents, but it's never blaming the parents. It's like the whole, Pornhub stuff that's going on right now, the X video stuff that's going on right now online, right? It's being banned everywhere. Yes, it's banned in Florida. I gotta do loopholes in order to see some booty. Like, come on, bruh. Come on, man. Take away the booty. Like, all because, think of the kids. Think of the kids. Think of the kids. It's like, how about, no, you think of the kids. I don't want my son going on anything that's mature. So you know what I do? I put parental locks. I do everything that I can to keep him away from adult material while he's a child. And I only bring this into the equation because, again, I feel like your responsibility and lack thereof is why people have to act out like this and do stuff like this, which just brings up like a whole conundrum of situations and problems that could have been stumped out and kicked to the side if you just do your fucking due diligence as a goddamn parent and watch over your snot-nosed fucking brats. But maybe I'm just the crazy one here, right? Maybe I'm just the one living inside my little dream world, not understanding how the world works. Devontae, you're an idiot. Millennial Smart, you're a piece of shit. Don't you understand that Paul Heyman is the bad guy here? Don't you understand that unrelated things that have nothing to do with professional wrestling, that's most likely going to be political brain rot that I'm going to infuse within this conversation to point towards, and you know what I'm talking about when discussing Paul Heyman? We're going to use that as a basis as to why you're wrong about everything in the fucking world, and you're the worst wrestling fan of all time because the situation that I hate and I want to be rectified with his blood on the floor, you want to have discussions and point to him being the good guy, or at least not being at fault. I get it and I understand, and that's okay. No, it's not. You're an absolute psychopath. There's a mental ward around the corner from your house. Trust me, I know. I stalk you for a living. Go there, sign up, get in the room, and stay there. And definitely scratch that. Forever. Eternity. Your skeleton. I want your dust in that bed, no cremation. Yo, I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Paul Heyman, apparently abusing kids. Don't go after Paul Heyman. Don't attack little kids. It's sad that these things have to be said nowadays because we live in the kind of society that we live in nowadays, and being anonymous gives you this shield to pretty much do whatever you want to do without getting punched in the face. I get that. I understand that. But don't go after anybody in this situation. Paul Heyman didn't do anything wrong, necessarily speaking. I mean, he did, but the intent was not there, clearly, in my opinion. Again, unless he had peripheral vision, notice the kid running up to him and just said, this is a nice way to get heat. But I'm almost certain that's not what Paul Heyman did, because again, son of a lawyer, lawsuits impending, contract, don't want to be touched, don't want to be fucked with. Let's keep things copacetic and not get heat on things that people cannot see, generally speaking. Also avoiding lawsuits. And I should get your thoughts on this. Should I look on Twitter one last time and see anybody's opinions that are, I don't know, stemming off of the situation? Or do we have like a consensus of what we kind of feel what Twitter's going to say, right? I feel like we have this like, I don't know, like overall peace and harmony amongst us when we separate ourselves from Twitter and X. So should I go look at some of the reactions, or should I just care to hear your reactions who are already within this community, who are already within this vicinity? Let's do that part. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below as to how you felt about Paul Heyman taking a little kid and apparently doing everything to him that you're not supposed to be doing. If you go on Twitter long enough, I guarantee you that rumor will be circulating around the IWC and it'll be blown completely out of proportion like that, because again, it's social media, that's how things work. Let me hear your thoughts and your comments and all your opinions that I don't give a fuck about, but that's how you engage on YouTube. Go ahead, jot it down there. And my name is Millennial Schmuck, and I'll be catching you fine folks later. I do sis, and a P eyes. Free my homie Heyman, bruh. He ain't do nothing wrong. Free my homie Heyman.